Hey Sarah,
Hello.
thanks for thanks for being here. And then, so the reason why I had you and Dallas on my podcast is just because the way that Dallas showed up, and then the way that you birthed, and you were so grounded and so sure in yourself, and the decisions that you were making were so expansive for me. And I thought that they could be really expansive for other people.
Well, thank you. And it's so exciting because I love this kind of space and I love talking about birth, all things birth. I totally nerd out about it. So I'm really excited for you to interview us.
Yeah. So I'll start you off with the first question is what led you to choose your baby catcher? What information did you seek to make that best decision for yourself?
Well, I would say when I first found out I was pregnant for the first time, I immediately just did what I thought was what we had to do, which was because I came from a family which my mother is a nurse, an RN, and she, growing up, she worked all over in nursing, but she ended her career in mother-baby unit, and she was a nurse in the nursery, and all I did was listen to stories from her growing up about like the birthing unit and having your baby in the hospital. And like, I know she had all three of us. Like, I have two brothers, so all three of us were born in a hospital. That's what I knew. Mm-hmm. So when I got pregnant, like, what did I do? She told me, okay, get an OB, and she recommended great OBs to me, and I went and got myself an OB. But then after, a few months, I started reading the books, like a couple of specific books that I read that sparked interest to me was, especially for birthing, was Ina May's Guide to Natural Childbirth. It started sparking questions to me and like, and also really resonating with me, like, why did I choose the OB and why did I choose, the hospital route? I always heard stories about, home births or natural births, and I just like would get nervous thinking like, oh, I don't know if that was for me. But then the more and more I sat with my decision and was seeing my OB every appointment I had, it was like not vibing with who I am. And also, I started to talk to Dallas about like how I was not visualizing this actually should be my path, like go to the hospital.
What made you?
So, a huge part of the switch for me and like this aha moment was Dallas and I would talk about like visualizing how the birth is going to go, just as though like, so Dallas would like say, just like you're going to play a record-breaking hockey game, like you have to visualize the goals. And it's the same kind of idea where like, okay, let's visualize our birth and how it's going to go. And the moment I start to visualize me driving to the hospital, walking in those corridors, going into a room with fluorescent lighting and like people coming in and out of it, start to make me freeze up and almost panic. Like I would have so much fear, and that idea of that would be what my birth would look like. And so I started to question and go like, Dallas, oh my God, like I don't think this is the route for us. I don't think this is what we should be doing, because like I can't visualize it. I can't get past that thought of being in a fluorescent lit room with people coming in and out of it. And it was a big aha moment for me. And you know, for example, like we live our lives, we have like very dim home, you know, we have music on most of the time and candles, and we create kind of Zen atmosphere for ourselves. So why wouldn't I do or want to do the same thing for my birth and bringing a baby into the world? Basically trying to create that comfortable atmosphere for myself so I can like do that job I need to do at that time, like to birth my baby.
Because if you choose to do it for your life, then obviously it brings you happiness and whatever mindset that you need to have for how you live. So why wouldn't that be different?
A lot of our decisions when it comes to our health are very holistic. You know, if I have an issue, my first reaction is not let's go to the doctor, in which I believe their doctors are there and we need them for certain, you know, for certain things. For sure we need them. But I truly don't believe that childbirth is an emergency, so we don't need to immediately treat it as that right away. And so basically what I'm saying is the way we deal with our health is a very holistic manner, and that's why when we started to discuss a change, Dallas and I, in our decision with our baby catcher, it was with that in mind, like, why am I choosing a doctor right away if that's not how we do things normally for ourselves?
It didn't feel good at a certain point in your pregnancy.
It was like, this is not us. So why are we doing this?
And you were in your 3rd trimester when you decided that? And then how did you go seek for different options?
So there's 2 kind of things that happened with my OB that made me kind of jump ship, I want to say. So first of all, there was like, I was doing a lot of reading and I was trying to become informed about birth because I want to know what to expect. And with the reading came a couple of questions. And so like one specifically, I remember asking her, and a specific question was like, how do you deal with shoulder dystocia? I wanted to know her answer. And because that to me was kind of like worrisome. Like that was one thing I read about and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of scary. I want to hear how she deals with it. And right away she says to me, oh, don't worry about that. We'll discuss that if it happens. And I was kind of taken aback in the room. I was like, well, in my mind, I didn't say this, I didn't argue her, but I was like, man, like, I don't want to discuss that while it's happening. I want to know how you dealt with it, or if you have ever dealt with it. So I know like that I can have confidence in my healthcare provider to deal with that situation. She just didn't like give me that assurance or kind of even confidence. The time of day to answer the questions. I was a bit disappointed in that. So that was kind of a red flag to me. And on that note, like Dallas and I discuss, often we discuss emergency situations and how we are going to deal with them before they happen, so that we have kind of a roadmap on like, okay, we've talked about this and this is what we said we would do if that happens. So it's kind of like us maybe over planning, but that was just where my mind was going at the time when
Is that how you deal with everything in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
we are planners, like we do discuss like a lot of things just so that we know how we're going to react if this worst scenario were to happen, type thing. Second red flag to me, it was a red flag for me, was it was I think it was 34 weeks, and my OB at the time, when I walked in, one of the first things she was preparing me for, like, okay, now you could have your birth anytime, and she wanted to go over procedures, and she reiterated to me that it was back when COVID was in full effect, I will say, and she said, so you're aware, a few things you need to know. You have to wear a mask at all times at the hospital. And I was like, wait a minute. I have to wear a mask while I'm pushing. And she's like, yeah, while you're pushing all the time, whenever there's someone in the room, you always have to have a mask on. And I was like, oh my God, that like freaked me right out. Broke my heart, because I'm like, I don't want my baby to see me in a mask for the first time that my baby ever sees me. Also, another thing that kind of sparked fear was she mentioned that our partner could not come into the hospital until you're in active labor. So at the time, she said, we have to come in the hospital on our own, and then the partner would come in or be called in. Like, he would sit in the parking lot in his car and be called in once I'm in active labor. And to me, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, no, like, I'm not leaving his side. Like, he's coming in with me. So I left that appointment just totally upset and annoyed, and called him, because I was going to my car, and I called him right away, and like, I need a midwife. Like, I need to figure something else out. Like, we can't continue down this road now. Like, there's too many red flags and like aha moments that I'm not going to just ignore them now, because the thought of going to the hospital, continuing down this path that I was like marching, was just not resonating with who we were.
And you had told me previously that it was creating more fear in you.
That's what I was gonna say, is like, the thought of going to a hospital was sparking more fear for me than birthing elsewhere. So that's even thinking, when I left that appointment, was like, I'll birth at home if I have to. I'm not wearing a mask for my birth. I'm not going to put a mask on and push my baby out and let my beautiful baby see me wearing a mask for the first time. Like, I don't want that for the child at all, or myself.
I don't remember the rules that were in place at the birth center when you delivered your baby, but it was a really hard thing for even us as baby catchers to wrap our minds around when we eventually had to recommend the mask for pushing, especially. But then I remember that it became a rule at a certain point.
Like, you can't, well, personally, like, you can't breathe very well wearing a mask, and like, you need to have all of your energy and effort to push or breathe the baby down, and wearing a mask is going to hinder that, and it just did not sit well with me at all. It was kind of degrading, actually, in my opinion.
And then when you went and sought out for midwifery care, I think you have a friend.
So
what did you ask her?
I have a friend,
Sylvie
Beaudry, beautiful lady. I love her. And I just like thought of her right away, because I knew I was near the end of my pregnancy, and I was like, she just came to my mind, and I was like, I'm going to ask her what, like, I thought maybe she could take me on, but at the time she was, I think, on mat leave or something. So she had an amazing recommendation, which was you, and I made the calls and tried my best to get in with you, and thankfully I got in at the last minute, and we were able to, condense all the appointments into one big one right away. And
so what questions did you ask me that reassured you or made you feel like this was the right path for you?
Again, I think coming from being the daughter of a nurse, it was a little nerve-wracking because I was going against the grain and then against what my mother would have wanted for me. So that was one thing that was on my mind. But then also is a totally jumping ship, as I would like to say, and doing something intuitively I felt was the right thing, but it just was something so different than what I always was told. So I was nervous. I was I needed that kind of guidance from you to reassure me that, the birth center is an amazing place to birth and safe space, and that you're professional and you were going to be there with us. So that was something great that you were able to help me navigate. One thing you reassured us was the emergency planning for there. So you actually, I think you mentioned that let's say there was an emergency and they need to come from the birth center and go to emerge at 4.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned something that it would be faster for us coming in an ambulance than if you were at the hospital.
Oh, we were talking about transport? Yeah, I see a lot of things, but so I don't know exactly what we were talking about, but there are times for an ambulance ride and there are times to get into the car.
Yeah.
So I do talk about that.
No, but I think you were mentioning just the timing from birth center to car.
Oh, I was just talking about the logistics.
Yeah, okay, logistically you reassured us that it was very quick to get there, and that eased my mind quite a bit. One other thing you mentioned was how you're constantly watching for signs of an emergency, and that you're not, your goal is not to bring us to a hospital in an emergency. It's to watch for that and go well before it becomes an emergency, which makes most sense, we go if you foresee that happening. And another, what was the last one that was the most important one? I was thinking, well, I asked you the questions, I really was curious about your experience. For example, that question I had with the OB and that answer that I got from her, and how it broke my heart a little. And I was like, well, how is she going to answer this? And Leanne, she just answered me so beautifully. She took this book out, which shocked me. She took a book off the shelf, opened it to a page. It had a diagram, and you showed me, okay, this is shoulder dysphagia, this is what happened, and you explained to me your experience with it and how you managed that. And I was like, oh my god, that was the most best answer ever. It made me feel like you have experience, A, and B, you have so much confidence dealing with that. So I was very pleasantly surprised, and it just put me right away more at ease. Yeah. I think you even mentioned one OB that you learned a technique from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think there's a technique that Ina May Gaskin taught the world. Maybe it was that?
Maybe. I thought you mentioned one of the OBs in Ottawa you learned a technique from. maybe it was...
I know that I do things differently with my hands because they're really tiny but long hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to learn, like the emergency skills workshops that we do are really based on these big, thick man hands that are working, unfortunately they're like, the teachings are from slaves. So yeah, like, I don't know if you know the history of obstetrics, but that's where it comes from. Yeah, you know that. Yeah.
I've learned that.
And so the diagrams are all based on it. And I have very, very different hands, but they're hands that fit. And so I had to learn with time how to do things that worked for my hands. And it works.
Amazed me just to even hear those things and the experience, and that you've had that training. It just gave me more confidence. And again, like, the OB didn't take the time to even explain that or talk about her experience. And just made me nervous, because I was like, well, I don't want to talk about an emergency when it's happening. Like, if there's like if my baby's stuck, like, then what kind of decisions am I making then? Like, I want to kind of have an idea before it happens.
That's just because of her reality and of having the less time. But it is actually part of our training that we should be talking about shoulder dystocia with all of our clients before birth, and that's even a recommendation for doctors. So,
and a lot of like risks through, let's say, the book Ina May that I read and I would go to for a lot of information. That was just something that stood out to me as like a problem that can be serious. That was the only one I was really kind of worried about in any way. So
even though you had a really small baby and you had nothing close to shoulder dystocia.
Yeah, no, it's true. But it just like stood out in my mind. Like, I wanted to ask about it. Because it's so, well, when you read the book, like, it's so interesting and she goes into depth about it. So I was like, oh my God, like, I want to know about this and ask my healthcare provider about it.
Yeah. What are the books that helped you navigate pregnancy and also helped you kind of manage your fear? Because there's so much fear around birth and pregnancy. And how did you, like, what helped you? What resources?
That's an amazing question. And I love this question because there's like 3 books I love so much, and legit wouldn't just recommend those 3 to everyone having a baby. All my friends, all the girlfriends I talk to, like, just like my 3 Bibles, basically. So, prepping my body for pregnancy. I truly believe you never can read this book early enough. Like, I just love it so much. It was written by Lana Asprey and Dave Asprey. So Dave Asprey's wife, Lana Asprey, she is a doctor, and she wrote the book, The Better Baby book. They wrote it together, and it's amazing for all things like prepping your body for pregnancy and fertility and while pregnant, like a protocol. So like that book just was so good, wealth of knowledge, and it was like my Bible. It has, for me, I did it kind of to a T. I followed that book. Again, you have to like pick and choose what you take from it, but whatever works for you. But that whole book really resonated with me. So it's like all wrinkled and torn up and written on and highlighted, and I just love that book so much. I've read it a few times and lent it out many times. And secondly, I would say for preparing for natural childbirth was Ina May's Guide to Natural Childbirth. The newest edition was amazing. I loved it. Again, is like my Bible for birthing. It really, I feel, did such a great job to wrap your head around what it is, what birth is, the stages of birth, and kind of what to expect. And then thirdly, which I feel is a very important book as well, and the resources that go with it, is the Hypnobirthing book.
Yeah.
I love it. Like it. Also, I picked and choose kind of what I took from that book, but super key points from that book, I believe a huge one, for example, like visualization and creating a mantra for yourself, like so important for having a quick and successful natural birth. I'm joking, like doesn't have to be quick, but
Yeah, and yours wasn't with
no,
Gigi. Yeah.
no. My second one was very quick. My first one not quick at all, but like amazing.
Yeah. There's so part of like another podcast that I did, the one with Sylvie, we were talking about how to choose your birth partner. And then so you delivered with Gigi, you delivered during the COVID times where you could only have one person. And then with Saint, it was different. You could have a few more people. But when you made the decision to choose the people that were going to be around you, how did you make those decisions?
So
what did you want from them?
I'm so blessed that I feel very blessed that I have like such a great partnership with Dallas. We're so on the same page with a lot of things, and when we're not, we like really hash it out and get on the same page together. So like it was without a doubt, no questions asked, like he was my partner to be there. And honestly, like I would have not, even if I could have more people, I didn't want. I didn't want to complicate anything, and I didn't want to have any different energies in the room just in case, like especially for my first, like I didn't know what to expect and how I would react to certain things. So like I just wanted to focus and just have him there. And it touches on that a lot also in Nine May, is like even with your partner, there can be energy off if there's like if you have a fight that's underlying, or like if something didn't get resolved, things can come up when you're in labor that like can stop progression for some reason, because like you think of something that may tense you up. So like for sure I didn't want any other people around the room if like they say the wrong thing or like react a certain way to something. Like I just didn't want any other energy in my birthing room. So that decision for me is very easy to just stick with me and him. And
you felt really confident in your relationship and how. So one thing that I've noticed at Gigi's birth especially is that you guys communicate without communicating. And it was really obvious.
It's amazing that you like notice things like that, because it's so cool to hear that. I don't even notice that we do that, but it's so cute that you say that.
Yeah, you did so very much, because even my recommendations, sometimes you wouldn't take them, or you would do something that you wanted to do with them, and that's the whole point, I think. I give you information, or the midwife gives you information, and then you do what works for you. And I could see you guys like have a conversation with your eyes, and I think that's a really beautiful trait to have in a relationship.
Yeah, thank you. Just on that note, like an ode to Dallas, I'd like to say that he comes from a military background. He's been in so many emergency situations and like hostile environments, and I know he's worked as a medic on the war fields, and it's just I feel safe in his presence and knowing all that experience he has, and he just puts me at ease, and I know we're safe with him. Like if our children get hurt, or my nephews, or me if I'm sick, like he's there, he's our medic, and he's just confident and calm as a cucumber in any event like that. So even if he was nervous of something, like I would have never known, because he's just like just laser focused and super chill.
Yeah. I probably said that to you. I was like, choose someone who can keep you grounded and stay grounded if things aren't grounded at the time.
Yeah.
And then Dallas, so the second birth where I wasn't the midwife, he had to catch your baby.
Yeah.
And how was he? Yeah,
amazing.
was it? Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and like so my second birth, we decided let's have a home birth. It's funny because like it was toying with birth center. We had such an amazing experience. I loved it there. It was so cozy and beautiful suites. So like I'll just say that, like the birth center, I explain it to people like it's like a 5-star hotel. You have this big ass bed, you have a fireplace and a big birthing pool, and like it's stunning. Like you can dim the lights and make it, very zen. So I was like, well, why do we need to do it at home? I go there and it's built for that. But then the more and more I think about it, even you, because we chatted about it, you were like, you have a beautiful home to have a birth. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I should do that. We're at home. We don't have to like leave the house. And anyways,
and then you had no choice, remember?
Yes. So then that's what happened. Like we were toying with it, going back and forth, because I was like, oh man, I don't want to make a mess at my house. So then, and also I was like, oh, they had such a great little menu after you have a beautiful meal at the birth center. I wanted that. And Dallas was like, Sarah, like, fuck that. Like, we can order in whatever you want. I'll get whatever you want. Like, let's stay home. So, but then there was a flood all of a sudden.
Yeah.
God made a flood happen at the birth center. Like,
it's still under repair.
I know. Yeah. I was like, I get a call. And it was like, you texted me and you were like, man, did you know that the birth center just flooded? And I was like, no way. Like some, unexplainable event happened, and that we couldn't, then our decision was made for us. Well, we're not going to a hospital, so we are birthing at home now. And that was the plan. And I just started visualizing that in my meditations, and really visualizing a safe home birth and successful home birth. And it happened.
Yeah. I remember because I was there as a doula for you at that time.
Yeah.
And you guys even had plans for, like, I remember when you said something to Dallas, and you guys had a plan, like who would go with the baby if the baby needed to be transported. And you just you had it all planned out. And that's how you work. That's how you function.
Yeah. So, like, we make plans for just in case there's an emergency. So even down to, like, and people may not know this, like, they may, like, I do believe that people, outsider perspective, may think, oh, that's crazy, home birth, or, it's, I've even heard the term irresponsible, but, like, actually we talked about every scenario we could even, imagine, and, down to Dallas test drove, the routes to the 2 hospitals that were the closest to us. He test drove them, made sure he knew exactly how to get there, the ins and outs of, like, the traffic and the routes to get, and, like, he mentally prepared any situation we could think of.
Yeah.
We planned for it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your midwives are also versed in those things
totally,
too. Yeah.
But you know what? Again, it's like he has had, driving courses and all types of I can't think of the word. That is, like, he has training and high speed driving courses.
Yeah.
So the thought of like, let's say there was an emergency from home, like Dallas is driving us,
Right,
you know, even.
right. Yeah, so
you know,
I just want to
yeah,
talk to the layperson. You don't need to have that kind of
No,
training to plan a
no,
home birth.
That's true.
And
Sorry.
the research is really good on home birth. So
Yeah.
it's not irresponsible. I haven't,
No,
yeah.
no,
But how, when you receive that kind of feedback from people and they're trying to give you, like, again, this is external conditioning, and then you need to make the decisions for yourself, because for some people it is right to have an out-of-hospital birth, and for some other people it's right for them to have an in-hospital birth, depending what's going on in their pregnancies. But there's just so much fear in the world that no one really goes inside to make the decision.
Yeah.
And then, but then, so
Yes.
there's probably information that was coming at you and telling you, deferring you from having, making that decision. And then how did you come back to yourself and kind of know that that was always best for you? Because the people that were probably coming at you probably loved you.
Yeah, I mean, again, actually, for example, I did not announce it from the rooftops.
Yeah, good.
That, like,
boundaries.
Yeah. Yes, first of all, I did not announce it from the rooftops in both pregnancies that I was doing what I was doing. I just, was on my mission and stuck to myself. And I...
you were doing it. You weren't doing it to prove anything to anyone.
No, yeah. Not at all. And I'll just say, like, after the birth center flooded, I didn't tell my mom that it flooded, because, like, I knew I was going to hear about it again. Like, she already, gave me a hard time the first pregnancy a little bit. So I wanted to, like, tread lightly there. I didn't want to cause a big kerfuffle right before I'm supposed to give birth. But then inevitably, I guess she may have saw it on the news. And even that, for example, right away, she called me and was like, I heard the birth center flooded. And I'm like, oh. And she goes, you better get your butt to a hospital if you go into labor. And I was like, okay, like, I'm not going to go to a hospital. I'm hoping it'll open. And I just, like, tread lightly there with that conversation with my mom. And I think I made it a joke, like, oh, maybe I'll birth at home. But, and the same way I navigated my first pregnancy, and which Ina May talks about in her book plenty, is do not focus on those negative fear-based stories from people and outsiders, whether it be an acquaintance, a friend, or your mother. Like, you just focus on positivity. And I got to a point, I remember, especially in my first pregnancy, it was like, if someone started to tell me a negative, fearful, crazy birth story that, like, was a upsetting story, I would just say, I don't want to focus on that right now. I just want to focus on myself and my experience. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want to focus on that right now. And I'd politely just cut that conversation. That's and I really recommend that for people, especially first time birthing women, to, like, just have boundaries for sure. And it's not like you're being rude. You're just and they can understand. Fill your brain with horror stories.
No, you don't. We were talking a little bit about when we're in a circle, when women who've delivered, so moms, and they're in a circle and they talk about birth, and, like, the person who has the best birth story never talks. And you feel this way. You feel like you have to be quiet because the person that has the most fear or has had the most traumatic is the one who takes up all the space. And I think it's really important for people that are pregnant to hear and either not put themselves in situations or set boundaries in those situations, because they have to expand themselves with good stories.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard because, like, I've listened to very traumatic stories, and it's heartbreaking to hear that, certain stories. But it's tough because, like, I've been at a table where everyone's going around telling their stories, and then you almost feel like you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to make them feel bad, or also, like, it then also sometimes can be framed as like, oh, you're just lucky.
Right.
And I don't think it's just luck either.
No. You prepared yourself so well. Did you do your meditations like every day?
Yeah, I did daily meditations and a lot of visualizing. I did morning meditation, sometimes also evening ones.
Yeah. So you were super dedicated.
Very dedicated.
And you were taking responsibility for all the case scenarios. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only just like meditations, but like I worked out. I kept my workouts going.
Yeah, what did you do for your body?
I strongly believe that you got to prepare physically too. It's tough work to birth. Mm-hmm. And I felt that, my workouts are making my body stronger to be able to do what I needed to do to have that natural birth. And I also continued, I love to do cold training. And I continued my cold training till the day I gave birth.
Did you do it in labor or did you do it before labor? Like the day before labor?
No, it was so I went into labor late in the evening, but that day I did the ice bath. Yeah. Okay. So, and I think you will see mixed reviews on that. Like some pediatrics may not recommend doing that. Yeah. Other people in Norway do that all the time. Yeah. Yeah. You kind of have to find your own guidance and figure it out on yourself what you feel is right for your body. Yeah. And for me, cold training was like something I looked forward to daily, and I do normally, and even through my pregnancy I just loved it so much. Yeah. Like it was very empowering, and also kept that kind of meditation and discipline and focus very precise. Yeah. So it helped me.
In Scandinavia, when they do their training, they say that it's like a training to face your fear. Mm-hmm. Did you feel like it was like that when you came to the cold?
I feel no matter what, cold training, getting in a tub full of ice water is never easy. You'll never get used to it. It's always a hard thing to do. And I found you'll always get a little scared right before you get in, and then you're in, and you have no choice but to be right in that present moment. And for those like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you're like super present and focused. And that's exactly what I believe you need to do during your contractions.
Right. You know what else the cold would do? Because I'm not an expert in the cold. I haven't done it. But you have to come back into your body and nothing else matters.
Yeah.
You can't be busy with... Yeah.
You can't else but just that being in that exact moment.
And this culture needs that so much. You know, like we need to just come back to the just right now. And we don't do that. And maybe that's why it's so much therapy for people.
Yeah, I swear. I say like... I always say it's like meditation on steroids, getting in the cold. And I remember there are days like, oh, I didn't meditate today. I'll just go do a cold plunge. Because it's like, it's quick, but it's very precise. Yeah. And I will also mention that like, I did do it throughout my entire pregnancy, but I didn't push limits. Like it wasn't like when I'm not pregnant, I'll push limits and like stay in long and have goals to like timing or breaths. Like when I was pregnant, I just, even if I was just in and out, that was good for that day. But like, I definitely was more careful and conscious of my body and just, doing what felt good that day. Yeah. So I'm not going in there and like doing 2-3 minutes. Yeah. While I'm 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I get in the water, do a few good, long, deep breaths, and then step out. And I was like happy. And some days I'd like go back in for a second time, but I was never doing marathon cold dips.
Yeah. And then because what we were saying right before, I think it's really expensive for people to know about your breastfeeding experience. So what did you do to prep, and how did your breastfeeding experience go?
Yeah. So breastfeeding to me is hilarious because before I had kids, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll breastfeed. Like, I don't know if that vibes with me, and I don't know if I want to have this thing on me all the time. Like, but then learning more about it, I was like, blew my mind. Like, I was so naive saying those things back then, because I was like, wow, like what's best for that child is that liquid gold. And I also tried to dive a little deep into learning what it all was behind that. And one amazing resource, which I would recommend to anyone with questions about breastfeeding, was Dr. Rhonda Patrick's podcast. Actually, she has one called The Biology of Breast Milk, or it's a Biology of Breastfeeding, but maybe you can link it in your.
Yeah.
But it was such a wealth of knowledge, that podcast, and not only that, but in Ina May's Guide to Natural Childbirth, she talked a lot about the squirm, the baby squirm, when the baby's birthed. Right away, you put them on your chest and let the baby squirm and find your nipple, and naturally your baby will like find it and want to suck. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's so crazy that happens. And I remember going over all that with Dallas and preparing and planning for that. And I was like, we have to do that with our baby and let it do the squirm. So we did, and it was fucking awesome. Like, it was so crazy that it happens. Like, the baby just naturally goes and wants to suck. And I feel blessed again. It happened quick and natural. That I did prepare, and I bought Ina May's Guide to Breastfeeding, which she talks a lot about breastfeeding in the other book. But I went ahead and bought that book. I never really read it because I was having such a great experience with breastfeeding right away. And I believe you have to stay relaxed. You have to stay calm and chill. The moment you get anxious or...
Everyone has, I've heard so many women be afraid of what their breastfeeding experience is going to be like, and they have no idea that it can be good. And so I just really wanted people to hear that there isn't a need to plan for all these things that could go wrong and with breastfeeding. But it's good to have resources. I think all the support. Everyone needs a lot of support as a mom.
I agree. I said, I bought the book, but I didn't actually read it. But I had a friend actually ask me a bunch of questions. I was like, why don't you read this book, and it may help you? And I lent it to her. And for some people, they will learn better like that, or need more resources. I also got so much knowledge from that podcast. I can't stress it enough. It's a great reference. But I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, that's great. No, I just wanted people to hear from someone that breastfeeding experience doesn't have to be challenging. Sometimes it is for people, but it's not always, and you don't have to psych yourself up with all these horror stories.
Oh, totally. And I've had a beautiful experience with Gigi. We breastfed till 2 years, and I plan to do the same with Saint. And he did the squirm, and he latched right away, and it's so beautiful, and it's easy. What I love about it, like, you don't have to leave the house with bottles.
Yeah.
You can just jump and go anywhere. And
yeah, the people who pump put in a lot of effort.
God, yeah, that's another thing I
Yeah.
haven't dabbled in, which just worked for us to not have to. Logistically, like, I'm around enough. I never had to pump, and I also made that decision not to. But again, it's not for everyone.
Yeah. Everyone's lifestyle
Yeah,
makes it that they have to do something different.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully this is really expensive for people to know that they have different options in birth, and that there's different ways of navigating the world around you that tells you to do otherwise. And whatever decision you make, you can always come back to your grounded self. Yeah. And fear is never a place to make a decision from.
No, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely think that I just really wish for all women and everyone actually with any type of medical decision, do your research first, do some reading, do some find questions, get them answered, inform yourself before you just blindly follow
the narrative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Status
somebody
quo.
telling you do this, question them and figure out why you are taking advice from that person, or for your children especially.
I just want to go back. You said something about your intuition before to me, about how it feels when you don't listen to it and when you listen to it. Do you mind telling the listener?
Yeah, so for me, intuition feels to me like my gut instincts. It's almost like a guiding light, calling, and I try not to, and I can't really steer far from that. I feel it's so strongly, and I just try to be aware of it and tap into that. I felt it really strongly when I was pregnant for the first time, when I was mentioning, when I changed my birth path, just really staying true to myself and what resonated with me most. And what was most in line with who I am, the life that I live, and what I train for physically and mentally. And just really trying to not focus on the noise of others and societal expectations that are pushed on me. Because if I don't listen to that, I would have felt maybe a huge disappointment in myself for not following what I felt was my path.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it feels to me.
I like how you said that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you also tell us a few examples of your mantras or visualizations? What went through your mind when you prepped?
Yeah, so actually through my birthing experiences, both made me really realize how powerful mantras can be, and also visualizing those techniques. It was almost just the bread and the butter. It just showed it gave me that example right there, clear as crystal, that it works, those mantras. And I was mentioning to you before, I've seen some beautifully written poetic mantras, and that's amazing. But for me, mine are very basic. And so I remember for my last birth with Saint, it was literally, I'm strong and capable. My body is meant to do this. And I was, every time, a thought of fear or pain, a pain response would come through my mind, I would immediately replace it with my positive mantra and focused that energy to release the tension and loosening my entire body with the mantra. So just immediately put that through like my head. I'm strong and capable. My body's meant to do this, and just do that with my breathing.
Right.
And it just kept me going through my whole like labor and with every contraction.
Did you
leading up to my birth, like even before my labor, like the last few months, I had in my head a mantra as well, like with just anytime I'd think or get lost, in worry or anxiety leading up to it, I would replace that anxious feeling with I will have a safe and calm home delivery. My body is meant to do this. So having the word safe in my mantra, because I was doing a home birth and I was visualizing that is going to go really well. There was no doubt in my mind it's just going to go well. And it was going to be very safe and calm. And I just kept telling myself that leading up to my birth.
I like those.
Yeah. So yeah, it seems super basic, but it really worked for me.
From what I've experimented with the subconscious, I find the subconscious, at least mine, reacts better to simple too. So and I like that you gave that example to the listener.
Yeah. You were saying because of the monkey brain and birth, like it is a good idea to maybe keep it simple too.
Yeah, so that you can kind of override whatever anxiety comes. And then like you can't be in your mind in labor. You really have to be deep in your body. So
totally.
the words that someone chooses in her for her labor has to like really respond well. You have to practice and yours are almost similar, the ones that you had in your pregnancy and then what you had in your birth. So I like that you knew that your mind and your body responded to those kinds of words, that's what soothes you. Yeah.
To be honest, my birthing mantra came to me when I started my contractions. I just started saying that to myself and it just kept coming and coming, and I would just keep going back to it. So it's not necessarily that I planned to do that, but it just worked out that way, and it really worked for me, and that's why I like to share that with others.
Nice. And then you mentioned a few books in the podcast. Do you have examples of things that were in the books or the podcast that you want to give to the listener?
So as I had mentioned earlier about the Better Baby book and how it's kind of like my pregnancy prepping Bible, I actually recommend it to a lot of friends. But the thing I love about it is really is a holistic approach to preparing your body and mind. It covers so much, like from exercise and diet, which is almost like you think are givens, but then it goes deeper into talking about your supplementation regime, like supplements that you can perhaps be taking, and then also preparing your environment, so eliminating a lot of toxins out of your home, which not everyone would think about. And is I found I live a pretty natural lifestyle. I don't have like harsh cleaners and chemicals in my home, but also I realize that's not the norm these days. So I think it's amazing to have that in a book, educating women that these chemicals can be endocrine disruptors, and like it's something to think about, taking that out of your environment, especially when you're thinking about getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And then also like he dives deep into like stress and how to eliminate that. And also the one thing I love so much is that when him and his wife, sorry, I say it's Dave Asprey and his wife, when they talk about like the supplementation regimes and the diet that they recommend, like they dove deep into the science behind why they're suggesting it, which I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. So for that book, those are the reasons why I love that so much. The podcast that I had recommended earlier, we were talking about Biology of Breast Milk by Dr. Rhonda Patrick. It's not a lengthy episode. I highly recommend it. I found she really lays out what the benefits are of it, why it is so important to like give your baby that head start if you can, and it's something that just it really blew my mind, like all the information in that episode. And I didn't necessarily know much about it prior to getting pregnant for my first time, and it just gave me some deep background knowledge onto like why I'm making this decision for my baby.
Yeah. Why you're choosing to breastfeed. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And she's very scientific. I like her.
Oh yeah.
But she speaks so robotic sometimes. Okay. But I love it. Like it's just packed full of information. Her
you
episodes.
Feel like she's credible and she's
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I found like it was dense. So it's just like a go-to source for me for the breastfeeding info. Yeah. Other than like I loved Ina May's book as well, like the breastfeeding book. I didn't actually finish reading it all because I mentioned to you I didn't feel I needed it. But she's amazing as well, Ina May.
She is in the world of midwifery.
Yeah.
And then so you mentioned that Dallas created a lot of safety for you, but do you want to give some examples of how Dallas did that for you, what he did for you in labor?
Yeah, so I mean, Dallas, he's like my big bear. Like he's such a badass, but he is, and he's so confident. Like, so I just felt like his confidence gave me confidence, and when he was holding that space for me, because I realized, like, labor and birth, it's not him, like it's me doing it. But it's funny how like it just worked that way, that he just was so confident, and he had that confidence that I was going to do great. And it was like reflecting back on me, I just felt very calm and confident knowing he was
following like the plan, what you had put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's so funny, I had mentioned to you, because you would always tell me on my second round that you thought the baby was going to come fast, and you kept saying that to me, and I was like, oh my God, is it actually? But he had Googled how to deliver a baby.
Oh, because of that?
Yeah. And knowing we were staying home for our birth, like, it's so funny. And just the way he is, like, always trying to be one step ahead and be prepared for things. Like, so he'd Googled how to deliver a baby. And he was like, I got this.
And it showed when he had to catch your baby.
Yeah, because like no one was there yet. So it was pretty cool. I was like, I think I need to push now. And he's like, let's do this.
Oh,
like,
wow.
That's what he said.
Wow.
So it was so awesome. And again, there, just in like his phrase, let's do this. It was like he was excited and happy, and I like just pushed my baby out, and he actually came out and the cord was wrapped around his neck, Saint, and Dallas swiftly like took and unlooped it with a technique that he had just Googled. So like, oh, okay. Turns out you don't need med school to deliver a baby.
Not when they deliver like you.
Just kidding. But yeah, like it was really funny because I was actually about to try, and he's like, no, babe, like, and he stopped me from pulling on a certain way, and he swiftly like did it, and it was so calm. Like, even if he was nervous or anxious, I never saw that in him. So that to me was very profound. And also just him holding that space is like a huge thing. I recommend all men try to stay calm and confident.
There's different things that happen in labor, and I've seen so much in how men respond to those things, and sometimes it's really hard to do that.
Oh, for sure.
But the thing, so what I saw Dallas do, and he did so well, and he truly he's so, he just knows how it's who he is, and it really shows with his background in medic and what he does, what he used to do for a living. It really showed. But I think that for
his training in stressful situations,
so what he did for you that I saw is he really like held you. I think he knows you really well, like you guys know each other really well, and he knows what your love language is, and he kept doing that in labor. And when I was there for you and with the first birth, I was like, well, I'm really not needed here because the space was fully taken. Like it, and not like in a I've got like I'm taking over, but just like how you respond and how you guys like how your vibe kind of went together so well. I wasn't really needed in that like holding space way.
He was, I think, very, very protective of me the first time, because I think I was more fragile the first time. I was more nervous and more of course, like I didn't know what to expect as much. The second time is more he's setting the ambiance for me and just there when I like asking me what I needed, and
he also took people's advice really well, because the way that he timed contractions was what I had
asked him to do.
And then he like how it was like it's the partner who feeds the client because she can't be in her mind reminding herself to drink, and he just did it, he just took it on,
giving me my electrolytes. I remember the first time with Gigi, the labor went really long, and he brought me like some honey in between a contraction, which was so, actually it was from Ina May's book. It recommended that. And we packed honey and dark chocolate and electrolytes and just those tiny nibbles of snacks in between, especially a long labor. It was so nice to have that.
The honey trick is nice. I think dark chocolate would be harder to eat in later labor. But I think
it was the honey that I had and the electrolytes. It was just nice, cold, icy electrolyte water, and just something that I looked forward to in between each contraction.
Nice. So one thing that I try to remember myself to ask the people that come on the episode is how do they build community for themselves? What does it mean to them? How do they maintain it? So do you want to tell me how you do that?
So I know you'd mentioned community to me in the past. I started thinking about like, how would I answer this? But I think it's funny. for me that you asked that, because we have such a strong sense of community. We're so blessed and fortunate. We've kind of curated an amazing group of friends and family that we're all like a tribe. And I think I told you, like, my brother and sister-in-law, my nephews, they all live like right next door to us, and we spend a lot of time with them, especially. And both Dallas and my brother were in the military and like had to travel so often that like me and my sister-in-law, we kind of hold it down when they're away, and we're always finding ourselves leaning on each other. So when your military background, this like community is the necessity part, like it's like survival almost, because it really takes a village, as they say. Otherwise, I also found, like, especially over these last few years, we really gravitated to other friends that are like-minded to us, valuing like the same things that we value. And when we're in Ottawa, we try to plan days in which we get the families together. So it's not just that I'm going hang out with the ladies, it's like the men come too, and the kids, and then we all just like get together and have these days. And the thing that kind of rings a bell to me is like this day we plan. It's every November, and it kind of just like represents who we are. So our friends have this like homestead out in what is it, Almont. It's a little homestead, like they're slowly growing it, but they have so many chickens, so they get them as babies. They have chickens that lay eggs, and then they have chickens they're getting just for meat. And so every November, after the full like summer season and into the fall, once they're ready to be butchered, like we have this day, we call it Chicken Day, and we all get together, and it's kind of like an all-day thing. We go in the morning and everybody has to like participate, and the kids, we don't make them, like they're there, they can come and see what we're doing, they can help if they want, or they can just go play. And then like all the adults, here we are, like butchering chickens and like plucking them, and we do the whole thing. Like they have all the equipment there, and there's about, maybe, I want to say like 15 of us all helping out and doing this and prepping all the chickens to get froze. And then after it's all done, like we eat chili, we have desserts, the kids play, and it's like such a fun day. And it's like these days like that I realize, like, wow, like this is our tribe, we're showing the kids, like, this is where our food's coming from, and we work together, and we're all doing this together. And not just that adults do this, it's like, well, kids can help, or they're seeing where their food's coming from, and we're all hanging out, making a fun day of it. So we try to do stuff like that sometimes with the kids, and it gets like the women together. We're all able to talk and share experiences. And then I feel like the men too, they like go and talk, and just, I don't know, I feel it's so nice as a family to have friends like that. And we're all in this together, this life, and even when you think you got it all together, like, it's still nice to have the support and back with your friends, and talk about the daily struggles, or like exciting times coming, or whatever it is. Like, we're just always leaning on each other.
so important, and it's so devalued in our society. Yeah, and it's funny that you guys do something like plucking chickens, and
that's it. Like our friend, like
it's like it's still bringing you guys together.
Yeah, like our friend like came up with this idea because obviously it's a big job to do that, and then like they're like, okay, let's make a day of it, and then like we each get chickens to bring home that are so healthy, and like we have them. That's what we're feeding our family. And then the kids are learning like, oh my God, like we helped do all that. And like Gigi this last spring, like she met the little baby chicks and then like saw them grow through the summer and then saw us butchering them at the end of the fall. So, you know, it sounds like brutal, but it's not, you know, because that's reality.
I love it. I love this example.
Yeah. So I thought, oh, when you asked me about community, I'm like, I had to tell her about Chicken Day.
And like for someone who might not want to be doing the chicken, it might be making like really big batches of food together.
Yeah, my God. Like we bring cookies and, you know, muffins and chili, and we have all this food that day, and we all just like having drinks and hanging out. So it's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
For sure.
And thank you for being on my podcast, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully you're expanding somebody or some people.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun. I nerd out over this stuff, so thank you for having me.